Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. How are you? I hope everybody's safe and not overreacting to the whole coronavirus, this COVID-19 pandemic that's sweeping across the globe. I wanted to do a quick video just about my bag. This is my SOG bag that I have been using for several years for overnight campouts, even somewhat of as a bug out bag. And I've got quite a bit of stuff on here. I've always grown up thinking be prepared. When I was in Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts, always had to be prepared for just about anything. And my bags have always had too much crap. Whether I'm backpacking, whether I'm just doing an overnight, I always seem to have too much. But in my opinion, I always have at least something. A lot of it is redundant. There's a lot of things that are probably 2 and 3 and 4 of, just in case one thing breaks. Whether it's matches and I can't get them lit, I've got a lighter. If I can't get a lighter, I've always got a ferro rod. So I've always got at least 1, 2, or 3 ways of filtering water, of starting a fire, of building shelter. So I've always got those elements in my bag. But real quick, I won't go over everything. There's just not enough time to do that. I've got several attachments from a first aid kit to a EDC type bag as well on the side. From my saws to my gloves, I've got a couple of different things, but really quick, I wanted to do a video on the front of my bag and the attachment or the components to the inside. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go over these here in just 1 second. All right, so real quick, this is my bag. It's about a 20-liter, possibly a little bit bigger backpack from SOG. I got this actually at our local Walmart several years ago. I don't remember what I paid for it, maybe $40, give or take a couple of bucks. But it's got quite a few different attachment points, MOLLE attachment points. It's got the Velcro on the top, and you can see I've got a couple of different patches here as well. But on the front of the pack, it's got this attachment or this pocket that you can unclip from the side release buckles, and it gets you to a front pouch here. This front pouch has a zipper compartment, and inside, these are probably my 2 most important things that I take with me all the time, other than my 10Cs with my knife, with a saw, with stuff like that. These are both Pelican 1030 cases. They're completely waterproof. I will bet my life on these boxes. I have never had an issue, even putting them underwater with a rock on top of them. They've never let water in. One, you can see it's red. The other one is blue. Fire, water. And I'm going to go into details on these right now. All right, so here are the boxes. These are the Pelican 1030. These are both waterproof boxes. And again, you can see the different colors. So if they were upside down, you can easily tell which one has what kind of components inside. So I'm going to go over the fire one here real quick. And again, these have the latch attachment system. You can actually put straps on both the bottom or the top. You can either hang them or you can strap them to your boat. You can strap them to your backpack. You can strap them to a tree if you really wanted to in a base camp type situation that you're going to be at for at least more than a day. Otherwise, I just keep these in my pack. So you open them up, very easy to get into. And this one's going to have a couple of different things. So on this one, we've got the magnesium stick, has the ferro rod and then the magnesium on the side. Very easy to use. I don't use these all that much, to be honest, but it is something that if you get good at, you can shave off the pieces of the magnesium and then hit it with the Firesteel with your 90-degree blade, whether it's your saw, whether it's your knife, and you can get a fire started as long as you have the correct tinder and base all set up. And then in here, I've got some of these WetFire Tinders, these little packs. I won't open one up because it'll allow moisture to get in and it'll probably ruin it. But these are great. These are white, little white cubes of fire starting material. These are great. I've used these for quite a long time and have had nothing but luck with them. They work really good. You can break them up into little pieces and they take a spark from a ferro rod fairly well. Sometimes an open flame is better, whether it's a match or a lighter. And speaking of that, I do have a waterproof match container. Has the striker on the side here. And because it's in a waterproof container, I don't worry about water. So this being on the outside, not a big deal. I know a lot of people have glued to the inside the striker as well. And in this one has a little bit of cotton material, so you can use that to catch a spark or help with the flame. And then in here are a bunch of storm type matches. But there's quite a few in here. It looks like about 25. And that seals up with a rubber O-ring to keep any water from getting in here. So here we've got 1 and 2 ways to at least start a fire or get an ignition. I also have a butane lighter. And you can see that better on the shirt. So this is one of those windproof and stormproof type lighter. This one is from Brunton, and it is a butane lighter. You just fill it up on the bottom. You unscrew the bottom here, and you can adjust. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can adjust all of the flame. It's not going to focus real well, but you can adjust the flame, and you can put in new fluid in there. So here's the third way, and it is your flame. But this works great. I've started a bunch of campfires with this thing, and this is also waterproof. It's got the red O-ring. You can see that there in the middle. So there's another way of getting a fire started. And then if those don't work, I do have the Light My Fire ferro rod or rod and striker. And I have used this a few times, although this stays right here in the box, so I don't have to worry about ever losing it and not having this as a separate system. Really cool little burl wood, although I believe this is probably like a recycled plastic. And not only is this a spark, which will get you your flame or your fire, but it also has a whistle built into the handle of the striker. So it works pretty good. Granted, I'm inside, but in any situation, you want to have a whistle that will be able to alert if you do get in a bad situation. A whistle will always travel farther than our human voice. Even if you scream extremely loud, it's not going to travel as far or as widespread as the whistle. So having a whistle, and in most cases, even when you're boating, you have to have a whistle on you, on your life jacket. So this is just another redundant piece of gear to have with you, just in case. So there's 4. And then inside here, for more Tinder options, these are little Tinder bundles that are infused with like a wax or some kind of a material, like a liquid material that helps when you break these apart and you pull them apart like you would a cotton ball. These take a flame or even a spark very easily. And I've got 2 packs of these. There's 4 in each pack, and these can go a long way. You can split one up and pull it apart, and use half and then use another half. So really, there's 8 here. I could probably have 16 fires if I used these sparingly, had the correct tinder, and got everything set up, and then used half of this, opened it up to get the air in there, and then hit it with the ferro rod or even a lighter, and you're going to have quite a few fires. So there's a second tinder material. And something a lot of people, I've seen these in some videos. I have seen a lot of these on lists, but one of these little pencil sharpeners takes a little pencil style wood, a little bit bigger than, you know, a 1/8 ferro rod size, if you will, but pretending this is a stick, you know, back in your school days, put your pencil in there and start twisting and go to town on that thing, and it makes very fine little shavings. So if you don't want to use your knife, or, you know, you want to play around, this is something actually good that I always keep in this box so that I can make little tiny shavings. And you can do it thick by pushing the pencil really hard, or the piece of wood really hard, but making it really light and really, really thin, you can get some amazing shavings. And then you just work on those, rub them around in your hand a little bit to work up the fibers, and this can make some really good shavings. So we have a couple of options on how to get our tinder processed. We have a couple of options on actual tinder that's ready made and ready to go. These are great. You can actually light these on fire while they float on water. And then in our fire side of things, of spark and flame, we've got the magnesium block, we've got the matches, we've got the open flame, and then we've got the ferro rod with your striker that has a built-in whistle. So really, in all of this stuff, I can get a fire started anywhere and in just about any condition. The biggest thing on this is having an open flame source. This can just blast through wind and water and stuff like that. If you have a driving rain, this works beautifully. But in any other condition, between the magnesium block, between the matches, and the ferro rod, I can get a fire started anywhere. All right, so that was my firebox, and I've got it all packed back up. It fits in here really nicely. And again, with it being waterproof, I don't have any worries of water getting in this. You can still stash or lash this to a bunch of different things, from your boat to your pack. And it does have a carabiner clip where you can put a carabiner or some paracord through there, and you can hang it on a branch. You can hang it on your tent, although it is somewhat heavy. It's less than a pound with everything in it, but I just normally keep it right in my pack. That way I know where it's at. All right, and now for my water, for water purification or filtering. This one's pretty basic, to be honest, but when it comes to water, you want to make sure you have something that you can use. Now, this one does not have a container. Now, I know you can put in a bunch of different baggies. You can put in, whether it's a Ziploc bag, you can put in a small little roll-up bag, and I probably will add that. I just haven't needed to because I've always had another container with me, one that I can boil water in. And if I need to collect water at a stream or a creek, I can always do that in my metal container and then boil it when I get to camp. So on this one, exact same box, the Pelican 1030. Open it up, and again, it's completely waterproof, so I don't worry that any of this stuff is going to come in contact with water that might be contaminated. Right away, we have one of the Frontier filters. This is really super easy. It comes with the straw. This is the unit, and literally you just put it together. You drop that into the water, you drink out of one end, and you have filtered water. Now this will do, I believe 20 gallons, although I'd have to double check. This is their emergency filter. It does come in that green, OD green. I kind of like that, but all the filter component is inside here. So you just lay there and you can drink water right out of it. Currently with this setup, there is no way to take the water from this into a bottle. So this is one of those filters. You would put this in the water system, whether it's a creek, a pond, you know, this will clog up if it's dirty water. There's a bunch of contaminants on the surface and stuff in it. Move that away, maybe swish the water around, but drop that right into the water and you can drink right out of it. Try to keep the water level below the top here. That way there's no chance that contaminated water can get down and into the straw, since that is where the connection point is. So I have used this on a number of trips and just keep the water, you know, right in that general area. That way it doesn't go over top there. And then once you're done, normally all I do is just flick this out and get the water out. I will occasionally soak this in water once I get home, just to kind of get some of the nasty junk out of the end here. But really, that's all I need to do with it. It's more of an emergency filter system in case I can't stop, whether I'm on the move or whether I'm just hiking and I don't want to worry about trying to collect water and then filter it later. I can use this in any kind of water area, whether it's a creek or a river or even a waterfall. You get those little areas that you can collect some water, and you get plenty of opportunity to drink out of. And in here also, the third thing are the potable aqua tabs. I have a whole bunch of these that once you collect your water in your container, you can drop these in. I believe it's 1 or 2, depending on how much water you have. Again, not something I use all that often, but in an emergency situation, you know, when a SHIT hits the fan, you can utilize these in large quantities of water and be able to have healthy water. Again, this is not going to do anything with actual physical things in the water, whether it's debris, leaf debris, dirt, bugs, little spiders and ants and stuff like that. This doesn't do anything with those. So collecting your water using a bandana, using a shamog to filter the water before you use this to kill any of the bacteria or any of the crap that's inside the water, this will help. And then on the liquid side of things, this is from AquaMira. This is their Part A and Part B, and it's real easy to follow the directions on here. Depending on how much water you have, you add so many drops of the Part A and so many drops of the Part B. Shake it together, let it sit for the recommended amount of time, and you're going to have clean water, or at least water that you can drink, minus again the bugs and leaves and all that crap that sits on the surface of the water or in the water, unless again you filter using some kind of a bandana or a shirt, cotton piece of fabric or something to filter out. You can also take coffee filters with you and lay over top, because most of the coffee filters, at least the round ones, you can lay right on top of the bottle and you can hold fairly easily, or use a rubber band or a piece of paracord and you can put underneath the water, and that coffee filter will help to take out all of the stuff that's in the water. So, and that's really it. I mean, like I said, I'm going to add some stuff, and if you have any recommendations of things that you would recommend I put in this, something small, something even better to put in here, I'm all for it. You know, I'm not a pro at this, and we all in the community here, in this outdoor community, it's wonderful to see everybody's excitement and everybody's information that they can pass on, because it only betters everyone. So realistically, if anybody has something better, definitely put it down in the comments and tell me, hey, I wouldn't put that in there, I would put this in there. Now, I don't have anything else. I don't have a light, I don't have a knife, because that's not what this is for. The blue I wanted to keep just for water. Will I add a container? I probably will. I've got some of the vapor bags, and you've seen me use those before. I have some of the vapor water bags, water bottle bags, if you will, and they can roll up really small. The problem is this size, you can see it's about the size of my hand. It's honestly, it's too small for my phone. I have an S10 Plus, and it's too small to fit in here. Even if I try to pull out the rubber gasket, the rubber housing, rubber piece insert, it's still too small. But with these three things, I at least have 3 ways of getting water that I can drink, whether it's immediate on the side of the creek or the stream, or I can put the tablets in, or the drops, and I'll have some fresh water when I get to camp. All right, so after I finished that little explanation, I had a light go off in my head, and I knew I had some of those vapor bottles. So real quick, I ran down to where I have everything stored, and I found one that actually rolled up really nicely. And it looks like a 750 milliliter, although the 750 milliliter line comes to about right there. And you can always get a little bit more water in there. So probably 900 milliliters if you really put a lot of water in this. But it's tight. Let me tell you, I had to move around a few things just to play with it. But I think I got it to a point where I can put everything in here. I can roll this up and get it all in the box. So now I would have a container that I can take. I can take this out, I can fill it with water and use it as a dedicated dirty water container where I would not drink out of this ever. The only problem then is, even with the lid on, after getting water out, it's in the box. So the straw would then be in the box along with the dirty water. So I'm not 100% sure if this is what I would rely on. Again, it would be more of an emergency type of situation where I would not be able to collect water and purify it, or start a fire and be able to do it that way. I could collect it in this and then use the drops and the tablets. and then continue moving if I was in a situation where I couldn't stop and I was constantly having to go from point A to point B and possibly evading anything for whatever reason I would. I could collect water in this. So there is that option. I might play around. I have a smaller one that I can put in here, although the lid mechanism is slightly different on the other ones. It's more of a flip top lid with a carabiner, so it takes up more space. So that's the concern. But I'm going to play around with this, maybe resort how everything goes in here, maybe put this in first. But I like having this as an option and having it on top so that if I did have to collect water, I don't have to take everything out, get this out, worry about getting everything back in, closing it, filling this, and then having to move. I can just open it, take it out, close it, put it back in the bag, and done. All right, so that was just a real quick, quick and dirty, if you will, of my firebox and my water box. These are the Pelican 1030 waterproof cases. It's the micro case series, and you can find these on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. I've had these for quite a few years, back when I used to work as a sales rep in the outdoor industry. So, but these are great. They're pretty much bomb proof. You can drop them a long ways, and again, like I said, they're waterproof. So my firebox especially, this thing can go to the bottom of a lake and come back out completely dry. I have no problem putting this in water or letting it get wet because the inside's going to stay dry. So all my stuff in there, several different ways of starting a fire, and then everything in here, several different ways of getting fresh water and cleaning or purifying the water. I don't have a coffee filter. Again, that would be super, super easy to roll up and put a few in there, even with a rubber band. That way I have that option of filtering the water, pre-filtering the water before it ever went into a container to take out any of the junk that's in the water. So, but that was real quick. I hope you learned something from it, and you can possibly add something like this to your bag. Again, I am not a professional with any of this stuff. So if you have any tips or tricks or anything you'd like to see me change in this or add to this, please tell me. Please add them in the comments down below. If I can find where these are still available or something like these, I'll put them in the comments down below. I don't get anything from it. These are not a sponsored item. I purchased these full out. So they are mine. Pelican doesn't sponsor anything like that. That would be pretty cool, to be honest with you. But yeah, any of the products you see here, I'm not sponsored by anybody. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, put them down below. I love reading everybody's comments and having fun with it. So this is just part of playing around with the woods, right? We go out, we have a good time, we learn something, and then we talk with everybody and find out what they're doing. So, all right, so these are what's in the front of my bag at all times. I don't ever leave home without either of these. They're always right there in the front of my pack. So I've always got at least something for fire, at least something for water, and I've got a whole bunch of other crap in there. We'll go over all that some other time. If you like what you see here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. That's going to help the channel. It's going to help YouTube be able to recommend these videos, and that's what we're here for, right? So, all right, thanks again. This is Eli with Getting Lost with Eli. Have a great day.